Welcome everyone to the Wednesday, July 23rd, 3 p.m. District of Sechelt Committee of the Whole meeting. The District of Sechelt is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Sechelt Nation. We respect the histories, language, and culture of the people of the Sechelt Nation, whose presence continues to enrich this community. My family is grateful. The agenda committee is in front of us, so I will ask, seeing no declarations of conflict, I will ask to adopt that agenda. Councillor Bell, Councillor Toth, all in favor of adoption as presented. Thank you. No delegations and or proclamations. We have a number of business items in front of us. I'm assuming committee would like to go through those individually, but what I would ask of the committee is just to make a motion if you want, otherwise individually or as a group, just a motion to receive those reports. As a group, thank you. Councillor Toth. Councillor Shepherd, all in favor of reception of those reports. Thank you. Thanks to staff for preparing them. So then we'll then go into 5.1, 2025 second quarter reports. And I would just ask if anybody wants to speak to these on staff, or we'll just proceed through the reports as presented. Mr. Yates, what do you think?
Mr. Douglas will speak to the 5.2 to 5.6, but the first one's just there for information.
Okay, thanks. So 5.2 to 5.6, the rest then Mr. Douglas will speak to. As we reach each one, you'll speak to it. Okay. As sort of an introduction, and I'm assuming. Okay, thanks. Okay, committee, we then have 5.1, 2025 second quarter report in front of us. As with the past, I'm assuming council will have read this report and may have some questions of the information presented. Any questions, Councillor Shepherd?
Thanks through the chair. Not a pressing question, or just a sort of follow-up question under communications on page 4. What's happening with the garbage bins? I don't know who to direct this to. Thanks.
Was there a specific question about, is this about the bear bins or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So originally the program was offered as a pilot to the addresses Tewanik, Sandy Hook, and Tilikum Bay. It was open for several months for uptake there first, because that's the majority of our bear issues, our complaints are in that location. And then it was opened up to the remaining residents of Sechelt recently, as the idea being you could exchange your regular organics bin. There would be an upcharge to get a bear resistant bin. There was not a tremendous amount of uptake from those neighborhoods, so it has now been open to the remaining residents, and those bins are kind of slowly being distributed. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I know that in my neighborhood there's a couple of bears, but I've heard that Sandy Hook has a fair amount more bears. I mean, it's hard to know the exact number. I've heard up to 8 in that neighborhood. So and we're obviously seeing a lot of deer, but they're not getting in the bins. Any other questions on the reports here? Councillor McLaughlin.
Yes, thank you, through the chair. I'm just wondering if we get a kind of a overall synopsis of perhaps the dollar amount or the percentage of the capital budgets that have been spent to date for 2024. And if there's any outstanding ones, which there may be from 2020, for 2025, if there's any outstanding ones from 2024, just to get a feel for how much remains from what we've approved in terms of what it might mean for your workload, et cetera, and our planning for capital planning. Thank you.
So there's a report coming to next week's meetings that will outline that stuff. I don't have it right top of my head. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
So thanks for that, Councillor McLaughlin. It's good to get every few months some sort of financial information. So you heard those questions, and obviously from Councillor McLaughlin, that will, based on what was asked, those will come next week.
So we have a Q2 report coming next week, which
Yeah.
is a standard report that we've done. It's already been written and it's already attached to a new agenda coming out on Friday. So if there's any questions from that, then we'll address them either there or after that.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Douglas. Councilor McLaughlin, obviously the report will come to us on Friday for you
Yeah.
to address
That's
those questions.
more.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, you might be able to do that, right? More information. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you. Just a shout out, and I hope council saw, shout out, I guess, to our Water Resource Center crew and their new microscope, because I think we got more hits on social media for showing microbacteria in the Water Resource Center. So that's a reference on page 5. The other question I had was on page 17. And perhaps this will be coming to us next week as well, the Wakefield Lift Station. Will we have a post-completion report coming to us?
Thanks. It wouldn't typically be, when we complete capital works projects, there isn't typically a report that comes. But the project is substantially complete, save a couple of very minor items. Yeah.
Okay, so we're operational? correct?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah,
So we're
fully operational.
We've switched over.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So then if there's nothing coming, then that means everything's been done within the approved budget envelope, I guess. Yeah, great.
Yeah, certainly that lift station, certainly if any council's been near there, it certainly looks complete. I know where there's some neighboring minor issues. I hope we were able to work those out. But there's also, as you may be alluding to, the budgetary issue of the large budget increase connected to that station. So hopefully it all worked out under that new budget. Yeah. Thanks. Okay, any other questions? Yeah.
If I may then,
Yeah.
bottom of page 17, I notice it appears the highway or the so-called highway has been painted in front of Petrocan and McDonald's perhaps overnight. Do we have any idea when our line painting may be done?
The line painting RFP is slated to go out either this week or next week. It's complete. So I'd expect the work to be completed in the next 2 months.
We'll all be happy about that. Thank you.
Any other questions, committee, on the items presented by staff? Okay, not seeing any, and there was some good questions there. We'll then move on to 5.2 Travel Policy 2714. You want to speak to this then? You had indicated?
Certainly, I mean, I can do a general review of all of them really, but
Yeah.
we've had a number of policies that really have needed to be looked at and reviewed and updated. In this case, we had 2 policies that were kind of melded together, and I'm pulling them apart to make 2 individual policies. And so the original policy was the travel and credit card policy. They were combined. And so we pulled them apart to make a travel policy and a separate corporate credit card policy. Several reasons for that. We wanted, under the corporate card policy, we want the staff to read the whole policy and be able to sign off on just the policy itself. And when it was combined with the travel policy, it was hard to kind of negotiate and manage that too much. And we want to make a couple of changes to the travel policy, which are highlighted in the report, which has been done. And so these are both in front of council for adoption.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the report presented and the words spoken by Mr. Douglas? Okay, seeing none then, committee, giving you a second. We'll then move on to 5. You have a question, Councillor Todd? Okay.
No,
sorry,
go ahead.
Yeah, okay, I'll move on to 5.3 then, if that's what you meant by go ahead. Yeah. No?
You have a question?
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Chair. I mean, we've got recommendations on page 35
Okay, sure.
associated with 5.2.
Yeah.
But my question, and my apologies if I'm misreading from one document to the next here, but on page 41, item 10.6 mentions that CAO expenses must be reviewed and approved by the mayor or chair of the Finance, Culture, and Economic Development Committee. And so, if we're recommending this for approval today, my recommendation would be to maybe make this approved by the mayor or deputy mayor. But I might be misreading the agenda, so let's just seek some clarity there. Thanks.
Okay.
That would be appropriate, yeah.
To make those changes as
Yes.
suggested? Okay.
Mhm, you bet.
Did you want to propose those changes then?
So moved.
Okay, was that heard by everyone? Seconder? Counselor Bell, all in favor? Great. Minister of Correction, let's go then to. Yes.
Following on that, I think 10.4 needs to have the word report at the end of the corporate credit card. And back on page 37, could I clarify, as drafted at the top in the box, this is a proposal for a 2-year review, which is fine with me, but I think the resolution number and below are taken from the old policy, so that's unnecessary, or will be filled in based on our motions here. So I can, if you want a formal motion to do for committee of the whole, so I think the substantive thing is just add the word report at the end of 10.4.
Okay, you're making a formal motion
Sure.
then, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, seconder? Yeah, okay, Counselor Toth, any discussion of that administrative motion in a sense? Additional wording? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay, thanks, committee.
And then if I can continue, Chair, 2.7, could somebody explain that phrase? Don't understand unless the host pays those expenses.
Yeah, so council don't claim for expenses within the jurisdiction, within the district of Sechelt, unless, there's a payment for travel for a counselor to go to an event from a hosted.
So unless the host pays the council member.
No, I think the host would pay the district and then the counselor would claim through the district.
Okay. Twelve kilometers at 71 cents, I think is well worth demanding payment for, so. Yeah.
Yep, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all
Okay,
about
thank you for the
transparency, right?
clarification. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions of committee? Well, I think that you were referring then to page 35. Always look for the highlighted recommendations, but we'll proceed with that then, if we're done, right?
Sure.
On page 35 then, mover and seconder, are you moving
And-
both, obviously?
I will move,
Yeah.
As
the,
amended.
the travel and corporate card, the travel and corporate card policy 2.7.12 be rescinded, and that District of Sechelt travel policy 2.7.14 be adopted as amended.
Amended. Okay, great. Seconder, Counselor Bell, all in favor? Thank you. In favor, great. Any other thoughts? Can I then, committee, move on to 5.3? Credit card policy. Okay. Did you want to introduce each one then, Mr. Douglas, then? Yeah,
The 2-point procurement policy.
yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Same thing with the procurement policy. Embedded in the old policy was disposal of assets.
Credit card.
Go on.
Page 51.
Yeah, this page, yeah.
So the credit card policy I introduced with the travel. So
Okay,
we're just separating them for better management.
yeah, that was, you
Yeah.
spoke to both when you spoke to them. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions of that then, if we didn't speak to them earlier, committee? Okay. Brenda?
I may have missed it, but should we then change, I'm looking at on page 47. Should we change 6.04 to add the word form and then 60606 to add deputy mayor? Like we did? Or am I looking at the same document? Oh, okay, never mind. I'm confused. Okay,
Starting on page 53.
scratch that.
Do you want me to give you a second to make sure that it is all consistent throughout? You're good? Okay. Okay, any other questions of the committee?
Not a question. I'll move the recommendation on page 51.
Okey dokey, thank you. Great. Okay, that one's highlighted. Okay, all in favor? Thank you, committee. Then let's go on to the procurement policy 5.4.
Thank you. So once again, the procurement policy had embedded in it the disposal of assets. And so we expanded a little bit more on the disposal of assets, but really no changes to it from it allows us different avenues to dispose of assets once they become not usable again. However, the procurement policy had a little more change to it than the other policies. They're also highlighted in the report. And so as normal practice, if we do a procurement and the procurement comes in over the allotted budget, we would come back to council to talk about that or get approval. However, other than that, once the budget is set for capital and operating, staff would deal with the procurement process and make the awards for projects.
Okay, I hope that's clear to committee then. Any questions of the procurement policy? Councilor Shepherd, I saw you this time.
So through the chair, so there's no change that I could see to the authority limits?
Yep, the authority level has changed. It's taken, and the staff had a cap on the authority, the limit of $250,000. So then any contract that was over 250,000 came back to council. With this policy, we won't be coming back to council as long as it's within the allotted budget.
Okay,
Page 87 had the.
So Councilor Shepherd, is that clear to you and are you comfortable with that?
it's clear to me.
Yes.
I guess you're introducing that change just to expedite things. Why?
It creates efficiencies. A lot of municipalities have already gone this way. Victoria did this, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago. Kamloops has not done, has gone this way probably longer than that. And all the other municipalities are moving into this model, right? There's, the policy needs to be followed, and if it's within budget, then staff can deal with the award.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Councilor Toth.
Thank you. I guess I guess knowing that, we're setting the budget and then sort of staff can move forward from there is reassuring. When I first read Unlimited, made me a little nervous, and I think Counselor Shepherd as well. I heard a little bit of hesitation there in the voice, but yeah, knowing that, we're not the first to do this, and here's the thing is if we find down the road that council wants to be approving contract awards for some reason, it can always be changed in the future. So mostly just talking out loud, I guess. I don't really have a point or a question for staff, but
Okay.
just like Counselor Shepherd, it's sort of, the word unlimited gave me a little bit of pause there, but thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thanks, Council. I think what you're hearing, Mr. Douglas, is just council's, as elected and as per our oath, the fiduciary responsibilities that we all hold. And that's what we would be concerned about moving forward, so being responsible. So that's, I'm assuming, what council members are speaking to. Thanks. That's what you're hearing probably.
Yeah, concern. I don't hear any, outright opposition, but this is, it's all in the eye of being more efficient, often we get bids that say, has to be firmed within 60 days. And sometimes we're pushing that limit. We have to come back to council and, it's just another step in the efficiency process that we cannot go over budget and we have to follow a process for procurement. And if all that's fine and dandy, then staff can approve the award.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. To pick up on that, so with an unlimited authority, if there's a specific procurement within that budget item of, let's say, $600,000, this policy then allows it to be approved by the senior team. But that could be outside of the overall budget. So how is staff going to handle something where one part of the procurement might be higher than budget, and yet you don't at that point know that the budget is going to be achieved?
Is that clearly, Mr.
So
Douglas?
that has not changed. So if a procurement comes in over the allotted budget, then we come back to council with recommendations as to how to deal with it. And that would be either finding other funding or don't go forward with the project, or it's just when we're within the budget and the procurement comes in within the budget, approved, so it's not outside the budget, then staff can approve it.
Okay. Yeah, I did hear you say that's probably the fifth time you said within the budget. So I think that's clear.
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was alluded to the outside the budget process or something. I was trying to.
Over the unbudgeted amount, I think is what you're.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Any other thoughts then? Your mic's still on? so
Yes, it
back to
is.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with this approach. I'm familiar with, it's quite common and certainly in the corporate world. This is, and I'd observe it does put burden on staff to, get it right. There's also sometimes some negotiating benefits to us, for staff having to bring it back to us. So perhaps I'll take Councillor Toss' approach of being ready to flag, hey, we'd like something to come back and we can see how this goes. I would ask, do our auditors have any problems with this?
I would say I haven't asked them, but I don't think they would have a problem with this. What they look at is that we're following policy.
Yeah.
More than anything than, values of approvals.
No, okay, so you haven't asked them, but understood. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Shepherd, and then reminder to the committee that I have a recommendation on page 52.
Yeah, I'm generally in support of this, if this is what other municipalities are moving to. I think the only shocker, in the last 3 years of being on council, that pertains to this is something like the pump station.
Way station?
Yeah, the way station, where it ended, being budgeted at 900,000 and it ends up at 4 million. And council's kind of crushed into a corner. We've got really no, by the time it comes back to council, we've got sort of no choice. It's not like council could say, want to back out of that. So I'll vote in favor of this, but boy, if there are any situations like that, I think that's why I asked the previous head of engineering at the time for an update on contracts to see, as you're sort of budgeting and going through the process of awarding, and even after you've awarded, are there going to be any surprises of being, going over? That's my fear. Because we just, not that we have that high inflation anymore, but it's just so detrimental to the municipals or the district's finances when something like that happens. Thanks.
Yes.
So a couple of things. Firstly, we're just starting the budget process again. We're starting to talk with everybody about expectations and directions and how we're going forward. We have talked to, we are taking an approach, we need to be more accurate on our budget items with capital so that you hopefully wouldn't see another 900,000 going to 4 million. So, we've talked about that and we're looking to address that. I had another answer for you, but I forgot it for now. So
obviously, I as well, a little, I would call it lift station shy now because of that one. That was, I've never seen a budget go up that many percentages, I think, ever. And I've been here a while, so it's quite a shock. Any other questions? And reminder of the recommendation on 52. Yes. Is it 58? I have 52 here in my. Oh, okay, sorry. Probably gonna have to ask that somebody turns on the lights next time because I gotta tell you, it's hard for me to read here with these eyes in the dark. Okay, Henderson
Thank
and
you.
Councillor Todd.
One thing I think coming out of this is I'd like to suggest we modify on page 61, the review period, that we bring it back in 2 years. That's, I noticed, or no, that's what was the proposal for the earlier policy. And I think I've got some other comments on a broader basis of this policy, but that's one thing in particular. So the other, and I raise that because there's some comments in here that concern me, some guidance, things about what are the factors in deciding whether it's a good a good project or a good procurement process. And these are concerns that relate to comments I've made in the past recently about affordability. So I'm not for a moment suggesting we don't aspire to the different principles of procurement for now, but I think if we can review it in 2 years, that would be more appropriate given the changing circumstances that we find ourselves in. So perhaps I'll move that we make the review period 2 years. See.
Okay. Okay, great. Any thoughts before I call the vote on that one? Okay, no thoughts, all in favor? Okay, great. Okay, are we then waiting for the motion with that one then? Yeah. Seconder, so that's be rescinded and policy 295 be adopted, correct?
As amended.
Yeah, as amended, yep. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. And then let's move on to 5.5, disposal of assets policy 92.
thank you. Once again, introduced with the procurement policy a little bit. We just added just some current language here and just more ways to dispose of assets. So it's not there's not a lot of big change to this policy.
Okay, thanks. Councilor Shepherd.
Sorry, through the chair, more ways, what,
Well, we just held a silent auction to dispose of some assets. One of the other areas we enhance is where we can gift certain things away, right? If they're in a, nonprofit or, that type of thing. And just hang on half a sec. Why don't I see? Here we go. And just to define the roles a little bit more with regards to scope of authority.
is that on page 95?
95, yes. And yeah, and just cleaning up more of the language than anything. Yeah.
Okay, Counselor Toth.
Thank you. Yeah, on the bottom of page 95 there, those other options, donation, recycling, whatever. Having attended that silent auction, I think there was probably a fair number of items there that staff were forced to dispose of in that manner that probably resulted in more staff time being spent on preparation and processing of the disposal than the things were worth. So
Yikes.
Small tools, things like that, perfect opportunity to send those sort of things to restore. So supportive of, adding donation and recycling. I think that's more helpful for both the organization and the community.
Yeah, Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes, thank you through the chair. I'm wondering if, under nonprofit organization, how we determined, whether, society or whatever is nonprofit society is in good standing. Do you do, some kind of online check with the government or anything?
We haven't really done that in the past. I guess if it was a significant value, we would want that, yes. But if it's a $40 item, we probably would just ask them outright if you're in good standing. But for anything larger, we would definitely want to know they were in good standing.
Any other thoughts?
Oh,
Yeah? You want to continue?
Got it off.
I'm just wondering if we should even put in that they have to be in good standing, because if we don't actually know, and if we don't actually do it, it sounds like a good cover statement, but I really, I'm just trying to be sure that either they're in good standing or not, because I think after COVID, a lot of paperwork did not get done, and we don't necessarily know very easily who's in good standing. It's just been my experience. Thank you.
Counselor Toth.
Thank you. Bottom of page 97. Nonprofit organization means a not-for-profit society incorporated or continued under the BC Societies Act in good standing. It's already there in the definition for the policy. So I don't know if we would need to add it twice.
I don't think that necessarily means that they're currently in good standing.
Okay. So then, questions having been asked, we have the policy in front of us.
So I'm
92.
sorry.
Yeah.
If I may, we're kind of on a 2-year cycle, so I'd like to do the same thing for this one, suggest that the review period be 2 years.
Okay, looking for a seconder. Okay, Counselor Toth, any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the review period of 2 years? Okay, can I see hands again, everybody? Okay, great. Okay, thanks. Okay. Okay, then that is done. Then let's go back to the original motion on page 92. As amended, I guess.
I'll move that the District of Sechelt Disposal of Assets Policy number 2.10.5 be adopted as amended.
Okay, great. Seconder, Counselor Bell. Any further discussion? All in favor, Thank you. Then let's go on to 5.6 Seashell Airport Master Plan Review. Mr. Douglas again, but a more substantive report, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Okay, so there was a motion from council to bring this back to committee of the whole meeting for further discussion and of topics. And staff have highlighted a few topics here that council may want to talk about. So they're listed here. If we can go through them in order, or if council has a different topic that they want to discuss with regards to the master plan, by all means.
Okay, how does the committee want to proceed? Councillor Shepherd, do you have any thoughts? You're quite involved in the airports and the committee.
Yeah, I appreciate this coming back to committee of the whole. You know, the airport committee members were somewhat dissatisfied actually with the master plan report. They felt it should have included more detail. I've got to mention that just because it was a comment that came back. You know, I think we've hit a juncture with the airport committee, getting to the stage of this plan. I think it's desperately needed that we have some kind of vision for moving ahead, bringing the airport up to, I think it's AGN 2 certification. So, you know, the report may not have provided all the detail that the committee members were looking for, but it's a good, I mean, I think it gives us the outline of the major components. So, the other reason I'd like it to come back is the other important thing facing the airport is the difficulties that it's facing right now with sort of trees going around and sort of a limited, well, certainly no night operation. So that's something that the airport committee with the district has to tackle. So I'm glad it's reflected in this. And I'm curious, really would like to see or hear what questions you have, what if this fills in your knowledge of where we're going with the airport, because it's a very important asset for the district. So thanks.
Okay. Any thoughts from the committee then with the report presented to us? Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you, through the chair. I'm just wondering, was there an earlier plan that some of this was based on? And then I think there was. It's a little hard to find because it's probably old. But and if so, what have we learned? What are the new things that are in the plan? Just for short-term discussion. Also, I am concerned that this is a regional airport, even though, you know, hopefully it'll be a regional airport that serves the region. And so I would be interested in getting comments back from the SCRD, Gibsons, First Nations, Seashell Nation. Who knows who else? Powell River, would they be interested in finally stopping here? They're not. Okay, well, whatever. And a third question is, would it be possible to go somewhere like Kelowna with this airport? Because I think it would be a great service if we could, because a lot of people would just be able to fly there, visit relatives, whatever, come back, not have to do the whole ferry thing and the driving thing. It might be a nice option. Thank you.
So the question is then, from Councilor McLaughlin in the beginning, is we always hope that we could get people interested in using the airport to go to these other places, but there's a number of reports that we all know. We go into our archives and ask staff to provide them on the airport. I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to list the amount of money we've spent on airport reports over the years. Certainly build a couple of nice parks for me. Anyway, So, I mean, you remember years ago, you did one and we did a number from 99 to 2011. So, Councilor McLaughlin, there's a number of reports out there and I'm sure you could access them if you request them. There's a number on the airport. Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to have to do all that research. I presume they looked at those already
Mhm.
and incorporated them into the new plan where appropriate. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Councillor Shepherd, do you probably at the beginning looked at those reports and, what's being asked is, were there anything new, any changes, any updates that would have occurred to those reports as we did the new one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'd ask Director Douglas's opinion on this. I know that the consultant looked at the previous reports. In my mind, the current master plan's giving us more definite estimate at sort of civil costs, for instance, to allow us to bring the airport up to AGN2 standards. I also think that, I don't know what happened in terms of community consultation in the previous reports, but now we have an airport committee that's sort of all pilots who's sitting around saying, yep, this is where the terminal should be. This is where we should be adding on-site services. Here are the opportunities outside of the fenced-in area. So I don't know, and we're sort of anticipating things like, which previous ports wouldn't. Where are the business opportunities here for, what should be looking at a flight school? Should we be looking at a drone pad? Because we've got to be looking sort of 20 years out. So it's just the reach of looking forward from this point in time, which is new. Thanks.
Oh, okay. I was just, there was a feedback earlier, so I was trying to keep it on mind, but I'll do that then.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor McLaughlin.
Yes, thank you. I guess the reason I ask is some of the visioning we did early on, some of those ideas, I don't see them coming through. There's a lot of potential there. I am seeing the airport also as an asset in terms of a location for emergency preparedness, much more so. And as a location where we might really want to locate civic and regional services that a bunch of pilots maybe haven't sat around and thought about. So I don't want to miss that opportunity. I think it's critical. Plus it's on the right side of the Chapman Bridge if there is a natural disaster. So I think it's a critical location that strategically we need to maybe really rethink that a little bit. And also for all that we do, I would like to let our regional partners see the benefit of it and perhaps help contribute financially to the future of it if it becomes more than just a place for planes to take us to Vancouver or Nanaimo. Thanks.
Yeah. Anybody that's lived here long enough knows that it used to be called the Gibson Sechelt Airport. And Gibson's wasn't really interested a number of years ago when asked directly whether they wanted to fund any improvements to the airport. So Sechelt basically took it over in the late 90s, early 2000s. And that's why it's one that we keep talking about and having to focus on and find budget money for. So, I mean, certainly council can reapproach those governments, but their answer had been before that they weren't interested. So any other thoughts? Mayor Henderson.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think all of these have been done, and to pick up on your comment with grant funding. And so any other governments that want to be involved, I'm sure it would be terrific to have their support and if need be, some contribution. But at the moment, the burden is we've got trees that are preventing this from being a viable airport. And until we deal with that, I guess I look at all the proposals in here of things that we might spend in the future. Very few of them make sense until we can figure out how to get a viable runway. And so, it's interesting to see on page 101, the different capital planning estimates that come out of the master plan, but they're certainly low Category D estimates, they're guesses. And they'd be dependent on, one, having the runway, and two, having grant funding. So, which I guess brings me to a question. We have received BCR access grants in the past, and I would be interested to hear confirmation. We're not at risk of any of these being clawed back. Sorry.
Not that I'm aware of. The work that was related to the grant has been completed.
Thank you. I'm going to give this to you. You want to thank the committee?
Sure, that's a great idea, Mayor. We should be thanking the committee, Selena Bell, Tom Bramble, Robert Carey, Chris Georges, Christine Moore, Luke Gordon, and Eric Scott for all of their input. They're incredibly enthusiastic, frustrated that things take a long time to put together, but it's a long-term project here. But I really admire their commitment to it. Thanks.
Thanks, Councilor Shepherd. I'm assuming that maybe those that were trying to hear me, hopefully they heard you. Thank them for their work if they're watching, because it's important to thank all the volunteers who put in all the many hours, especially on the airport, because it's difficult to see any benefits or changes over a number of years, but there's so many committed airport people on the coast. Any other thoughts from council? Okay, I don't see a recommendation here. We've made a recommendation previous to accept the reports received. Any other thoughts from committee members before I move in to the next item, which is adjournment? Okay, seeing none, thanks staff and once again the committee members on that hardworking report. And I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Okay, second. Councilor Shepherd, Toss Shepherd, all in favor of adjournment. Thank you, committee. And any questions, public questions and answer period.